more on this historic flight. We are joined now by Walter Isaacson, professor of history at Tulane University and advisory partner, I should say, at Perella Weinberg Partners, and a CNBC contributor. Walter, it is great to see you. Put this in context and put it in history for what Jeff Bezos is trying to do here, but also what he's trying to do relative, perhaps, to what Richard Branson was trying to do a week and a half ago now.
Well, you have two different industries emerging that are related but not the same. One is space tourism, in which you go up on an 11-minute flight like this, and people pay because they want to do it, and it's exciting. And I think it's wonderful because it helps restore the luster and beauty of knowing our planet and knowing outer space. The other is the commercialization of space aviation, which is also good because our country, for the past 10 years, since the shuttle's missions ended, we haven't been able to easily bring people to the International Space Station or launch satellites that well. And that's where you see companies like Elon Musk's SpaceX competing much more strongly. I think there's probably been about $2.8 billion worth of SpaceX satellite launches commercially, and only about $500 million for Blue Origin. So these are two new industries that are emerging, both of which are good.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, though. In terms of this idea of space tourism, is it part of a larger effort, and are there lessons that will be learned in the space tourism business that effectively will then be transferred to commercialization, if you will, or some of these other even bigger efforts?
Yeah, sure. There'll be some lessons, but you don't actually need space tourism in order to create orbital flights, which you need to do to put satellites into orbit or to go to the International Space Station, or for that matter, Mars and the Moon. So I think what you've done with this space tourism is you've sped up the process some. You've created boosters and engines faster. And you've also spurred the public imagination again in a time when we've been in a deep funk to say, well, we can explore new places. All of that is good, and it probably has spillover effect, but they're still rather separate industries.
Right. What do you think of the critique that this is egomania by billionaires, and it's something that will effectively be built only for the rich? That is to say that space tourism today is going to be very expensive, but even space tourism 10 or 20 years from now will also be very expensive.
Space tourism will be expensive. In fact, all forms of tourism can be expensive. And to me, that's not the important thing that's happening now. I think by having the space tourism, we're seeing a bigger interest in space. But what's happening is things like Starlink, which has put up satellites, more than 1,500 of them to give internet access to remote places around the world. I just saw a wonderful Will Marshall's company, Planet.com, which every day surveys every spot on this planet to see what's changing. Those type of things are the things that'll be important.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.